Welcome to Phoenix Uprising. I'm your host, Candace Paroli.
And I'm Jena Zalkowitz.
Each week, we're bringing you real, unfiltered conversations about beauty, wellness, business, and the messy, magical process of rising from life's challenges. Think of this podcast like having coffee
or a gummy
with your girlfriends, the kind of friends who keep it real, give you solid advice, and cheer you on when you're ready to reinvent yourself.
That's us, two women who have walked through fire, rebuilt from the ground up, and are here to share the tools, insights, and stories to help you do the same.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, a beauty lover, a wellness seeker, or simply someone craving inspiration and transformation, this podcast is for you.
Join us every week for bold, soulful, and empowering conversations that will help you rise higher, personally, professionally, and spiritually.
Hello, girls. Welcome back to Phoenix Uprising. We are your hosts. I'm Candace Paroli.
I'm Jena Zalkowitz.
And this is episode 4.
And this is part 2 to my journey with breast cancer. And this part is going to be more about domestic violence, unfortunately. So this is going to be a heavy episode, but Candace and I were always going to say that we never want to come off as victims. We're not victims.
Yeah, we're not.
And we bring a lot of humor into things. We keep things lighthearted, but this is because we've also healed a lot.
Yeah, I would say
ton.
Humor, wisdom, insight.
Mm-hmm.
Think of us as your Phoenix big sisters.
The reason we can laugh about certain things is we have truly done the most in our healing. And I mean, it's always a journey. We're still healing.
Right.
But I've been on a 4-year healing journey. And I've done so many different things. All the things that we want to share with you. But this story I'm about to share, I was not capable of sharing this even until recently. Yeah. So this is something I now feel, which it, you know, when I first would tell parts of this story to friends, like in the beginning, I would get a panic attack. It was really hard for me. So this is just a testament to how far I've come in my healing, that I now feel ready to tell this like publicly, which is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You took your power back.
I did take my power back. So, and this is also something that unfortunately Candace and I have in common.
Yeah.
We have both experienced relationships like this, which is super unfortunate. But what are the statistics of how many women have?
Unfortunately, in the United States, 41% of women in the United States experience contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime.
Yeah. So unfortunately, a lot of people listening to this have probably experienced this.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, well, we want to kind of explain what we've been through. And well, this story will be what I've been through. I'll share my story in this episode, but so I want to go back to where we left off with my diagnosis with cancer. And this time I want to kind of tell the story from the perspective of who I was living with at the time. So when this diagnosis came in, I was with my boyfriend that I had already been with for 10 years. And things in my life were not good at this time. Our relationship was not good at all. And it seemed like we were heading towards breaking up. I now understand. I now have the language to know that he was a covert narcissist. I didn't even know what this was at the time, but I don't think I would have ever gotten rid of him, actually. I think it was just a bunch of manipulation and mind games, but the relationship was really bad. And when this cancer diagnosis came in, obviously, like, we're not going to break up, even if we ever would have, with me being diagnosed with cancer. And it seemed like I was just now this burden on him, and
it complicated the relationship.
Exactly. Yes.
Even more so.
Yes. And the only credit we'll really give him is that he did find the lump and he did encourage me to go to the doctor and get it checked out, which he threw in my face many times in the next 6 years. But when I remember when the diagnosis came in, just how he did all the wrong things. Like, he was not supportive of me whatsoever. I remember telling him that morning, and it felt more like it was his diagnosis. You know, he was so not there for me, so not supportive. And I mean, but I was used to this by this time. I mean, he was already emotionally abusive from these first 10 years, and it's just something I had got used to living with. And you don't, it happens in these little increments, and you don't realize it at the time. It's just this cycle you get in, and you unfortunately lower the bar, and you accept this, and it's a psychological thing.
Right, because for those of you that might be questioning, why did Jena accept this, or how could she accept this? It's not like her relationship started this way. She wasn't attracted to an abuser. She didn't know him as an abuser. We teach people how to treat us by what we're willing to put up with. Mm-hmm. And so if I could give any female advice that's listening to this, that's watching this right now, leave the first punch in the wall. Leave the first time he's verbally insulting you. Mm-hmm. Because every time you allow something like that, the next time it's going to be 10 times worse.
Yep.
So every time you're accepting that, you're giving them this sense of, you're giving them an ego boost, and it's letting them know, I can do it again, and I can do more.
Exactly. Yeah. And
she's also scared.
So, yeah, this time in our relationship, I already was not asking for much from him, and I already was accepting of way too much. I didn't know any better. I had low self-esteem, and I just let it happen. I really didn't know any better. So when I find out the morning I find out I have cancer, I mean, he didn't embrace me. He didn't tell me it's going to be okay. He didn't tell me we're going to get through this together. There was none of that. He really looked like he's the one that got the cancer diagnosis, and this is what I was used to living with. So, I knew, part of me knew I should ask for more, but that's what I got, So what I already talked about with my cancer journey, it was already hellacious, but living with somebody that really did not support me and would just really give me breadcrumbs, he would drive me to appointments. Okay, wow, thank you. It was the bare minimum. And you
thought that was a big deal, that he was doing
because he would tell me it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I've driven you to every appointment. I'm the one that found the lump. You wouldn't have even,
You'd be dead if I didn't find it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, always a part of my brain knew better. A part of my brain was like, I guess he's right, So I was already in an emotionally abusive relationship. I didn't really understand that at the time, but looking back on it, of course I was. It was, I think it was my fourth chemo treatment. It was the first time that he hit me. So while going through chemo, the hardest fight of my life, he decided this is a good time to hit her. I have no idea. I don't remember how it came about. I don't remember what he was mad about. I was so deathly ill. It was like a few days after my chemo treatment. I was not okay. And I remember standing in the bedroom with him and him getting irate as he would. And he open hand slapped me so hard that I felt like my brain hit the sides of my skull. He hit me across my face so hard that I had blood in my eye. And this is while I am so sick. And it jarred me so much. It took me a minute to even understand what had just happened.
Right.
It was unbelievable. And my first thought was, I went into the bathroom, I saw there was blood in my eye, and I thought, oh my God, people are going to know.
Right. Or am I going to hemorrhage?
Yeah. Yeah, there was fear of like, is this going to go away? Am I going to have how long am I going to have a red bloody eye? I mean, if the visual of, I have no hair, I am probably 20 pounds overweight,
Yeah.
complete monster, probably 20 pounds overweight at this point. And now my eye is bloody on top. I mean, you can't really get lower. This is rock bottom. And I didn't want anyone to know that I was putting up with this. I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. And that's what I just kept thinking. Oh my God, my family's going to find out. People are going to find out. They're going to know he hit me. And I don't remember if it was that same day or the next day, but my parents came over to my house, and I was so scared because they're going to see the blood in my eye. They're going to know he hit me.
So you weren't scared for yourself. Your first feelings after that were shame.
Yeah. Shame. Yeah. Shame and embarrassment. I had no idea.
Like you caused that in some way or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And it was like, I would have rather hid it, pushed it down. I mean, and I did. I continued to hide it for the next 6 years, but I was complete and utter shame. So my parents come over this day, and I mean, like the mental fog from the chemo as well. Like it's taken such a toll on me. He hit me. My eye is bloody. I mean, I am completely rock bottom. My parents come over, and somehow I allow him to talk to them alone, to explain why my eye is bloody. For some reason, I am not in this conversation. I'm in the other room. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm thinking, this is the facts. He hit me. He made my eye like this. They're going to find out. And it turns out that he made up some story that they completely believed. He's told them I did it to myself. And I still to this day don't know what he told them, but they completely believe the story, and nobody talked to me about it. And he was very charming. He was very convincing. He was very good at this. And whatever he said to them, they fully believed this story. And that was that. Nobody questioned me about why my eye was bloody. Nobody in my life. And he got away with it.
Wow.
And that was a real turning point from that day on. I think in his mind, he could get away with anything.
Well, yeah, he thought that he could get away with anything. And then you, in turn, felt so alone.
Yeah.
Battling cancer and now going through abuse.
Mm-hmm. And I thought I deserved it.
Oh, my God.
I thought...
Well, you definitely did not.
I thought I deserved it, and, there's nothing I can do about it. And that is when the physical violence started with him. And unfortunately, that was 2015, and it didn't end until 2021.
Oh, my God. So... I'm sure a lot of people are, wondering why didn't Jena ask for help? Why didn't she leave? For those of you that don't know, I work with a lot of rape victims, sex trafficking victims, and I remove their tattoos for them. No, and I also teach students to do that as well. It's non-laser tattoo removal. And one of the things that I teach my students is we don't ask why. And so I want to explain something to everyone about abuse survivors. The first 48 to 72 hours, if they can leave, okay, they get death threats. Their family gets death threats. If they have children, the children get death threats, or the children can be kidnapped. If they are financially dependent on their abuser, their funds are either taken from them or they cannot leave because they have no funds. Sometimes they stay if it's due to religious reasons. or isolation and shame. And so that is what was happening with Jena. She was at one of the lowest points of her life, battling cancer at a young age and completely isolated from friends and most of her family. And she was living with her abuser, and she was ashamed of it and thought that she brought that on herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my family thought, well, we live together. Clearly he's taking care of me. So, they didn't interject as much as I needed. And I hid everything.
Yeah.
And I did a good job of hiding it because I was ashamed. I couldn't even fathom telling people what was actually going on. And I pushed that down and I hid it. And you have to understand the whole time he's telling me everything he does for me and throwing everything up that he's ever done for me. And it's like these breadcrumbs. And then, I do this for you, I do that for you, beating me down, but they also build you up. It's this cycle. You get addicted to this cycle of like, they will compliment you and then they beat you down again. It's never ending.
Well, because it's like the super high highs and then the low lows.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you something. Did you feel like you needed to protect him when he did that?
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Isn't that, I know that sounds sickening.
Mm-hmm.
And because to say it out loud, it is sickening.
Yeah.
But
my biggest fear is that they were going to find out he did this to me.
Yeah.
So I probably felt some relief that they didn't find out, but part of me wanted them to know so desperately. And the other part of me was like, oh, thank God, nobody knows. I would always protect him. I protected him for the next 6 years. It is, when you look back on it, it's sickening.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the next 6 years, then there was physical violence in our relationship, and things such as he held a gun to my head 2 different times. He threatened my life more times than I can count. He threatened the lives of my family members. I thought for sure there was no way I could ever get away from him. I did not expect to live to this age. I definitely thought he was going to kill me. These things would happen. There would be these huge fights. There would be these huge traumatic events, and then there would be very normal times and very happy times.
Right.
And it just bounces back and forth.
And then during those very normal, happy times, in the back of your mind, you're hoping and praying, like, God, could it just always be like this?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
How long is it gonna?
Yeah.
How long is it gonna stay?
Mm-hmm. And then you think, maybe if I don't do anything wrong,
yeah,
he won't do it again. And it just, I remember going to one of my oncology doctor appointments, covered in bruises. Mm-hmm. And I made up this really convincing story, and I laughed and told my doctor I fell down the stairs and sold the story, and the doctor believed me. And I didn't even remember this. This is a repressed memory that came up last year. I didn't even remember doing this. Like there was so many different things. So I want to talk about how I finally got away from him. So 6 years of this as I'm rebuilding after cancer, and as I'm getting in the gym, I'm getting healthy, my business is starting to really thrive. As all these good things are happening to me, he's just getting worse and worse. He hates to see me doing good. He's so jealous of me. And truly every single year in those 6 years, it got worse each year. And the final year, it was absolute hell. When I was living in fight or flight every single day of my life. I was holding on to weight that I couldn't lose. No matter what I tried, I couldn't lose the weight. I was just constantly pretending when I was out of my house and constantly protecting him. It was absolutely exhausting. There was also another time where he threw me across our bedroom into a closet door and broke my shoulder.
Oh my God.
It's the only time in my life I've ever broken a bone. I fractured my shoulder, and it's because he threw me across the room. And again, I sold that lie. I said I did it playing racquetball, and everyone believed me.
Was this during cancer?
This was 2 years. It was either actually 1 or 2 years after cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and he told me I did it to myself. He never, ever, in the next 5 years, whatever it was, 4 years, he never apologized. And every time I would bring it up, he said I did it to myself. It was absolutely traumatizing. But things actually got to such a bad place that even though he had threatened me so many times and I was terrified of he was going to hurt me, I told him, it got to a place, I said, if you ever get violent again, I have to leave. It just, I hit my breaking point. And I didn't know what that looked like, and I was scared, but I had this talk with him, and I said, I'm going to leave. And there was, it was the end of 2021, and there was one Saturday morning that he woke up, and I just like dreaded that he was even awake. Like I have to interact with him. Like just everything was in such a bad place, and I was really terrified of him. And he started his nonsense. He was mad over something super stupid, that I wouldn't get a storage unit or something. And he slams his laptop shut. He grabs and pulls the blanket that's on top of me. He throws a pillow. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And I said to him, that's it. I told you, I'm gonna leave. I'm going to my parents' house. So I walked upstairs, and I went upstairs to pack a bag, and he followed me, and he locked me in the room, and he beat me, and he strangled me. And I knew this was coming. This is why I never tried to leave previously. People say, why don't you leave? Well, this is why. And he had his hands around my neck, and he was strangling me, and his eyes were black while he was doing this. And that sounds so crazy to say, but truly his eyes were black. And he's strangling me, and I was just going to give in. I was just going to, okay, this is how it ends. And I remember in that moment having a decision. I'm making the decision that, okay, I actually want to live. And I put my hands around his hands, and I pulled with everything I had to break him and break the grip on my neck and break him out of this. And I did get his hands off of my neck. He continued to throw me around the room. He beat me, threw me on the floor. He spit in my face. He took my phone, and he barricaded the door. And I started to give in to what he wanted to hear. So I thought, I'm gonna play along. And I started telling him the things I thought he wanted to hear, that I thought I know him well enough at this point, what will make him less mad, what will bring him back down. And I started doing that. And then I told him I just really had to use the bathroom. And I was like, can you please just let me, I have to pee so bad. Like, I'm going to pee my pants. Please just let me use the bathroom. Please, 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 please. And I wouldn't stop asking. And he got up to open the door to let me in the bathroom. And I went behind him, and I ran. And when his back was turned to me, I just ran, and I ran down the stairs. And I did not have my phone. I was in my bare feet. I did not have my contacts in. And I just ran, and I heard his footsteps running behind me down the stairs. And I just ran as fast as I could, and I ran out of the house into the driveway. And I remember standing in the driveway, and like it's sunny outside, and I'm just standing there like panting, and I'm like, oh my God, he's not going to leave the house because he'll be exposed. Mm-hmm. He's not going to exit this door.
Right.
And I remember standing there thinking, oh my God, I think I'm free.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what was about to happen, but it was just like this crazy feeling of like, oh my God, did I get away? And I ended up going to a neighbor's house and calling my dad. And this was the first time I told a single human being that he was violent, that I was living with abuse. The neighbor's the first person I told.
And you had the marks,
mm-hmm.
So
they didn't show it first.
Right.
So at first it was just, my story. And he was like, oh my God, Jenna, get in the house. And him and his wife helped me out. And then the marks started coming, and I called my dad, and he did not know what was going on. I just called him and said, you have to come to my house. You have to come get me. I don't know what I said. And my dad showed up, and my dad ended up going in my house and talking to him. And he was perfectly calm, telling my dad some completely different story of what had just happened. And when I realized he was at my house and I was at my neighbor's house, I called my dad and I said, listen, you have to grab my shoes and you have to meet me out front. And I met him out front and I said, we're going to your house right now. And he started driving and I told him. And I mean, he didn't know how to react. It was completely shocking news to him. And we drove to his house, and I called a friend whose sister was an attorney, and she advised me what to do. We didn't know what to do. We were just all in shock. And she told me, you can never speak to him again. Mm-hmm. And I had sent a text to him, and the bruises were showing now. There was a lot of bruises on me, on my face, on my body.
Your neck?
My neck, yeah. Mm-hmm. And other scratches and swelling, and he pulled my hair out. I had a bald spot on my head, which Candace has actually regrown my hair since then. But yeah, there was a lot of marks, and I sent him a picture of it, and I said, you just did this to me. And he wrote back, and he said, Jenna, stop. I didn't do that to you. That was the last text exchange we ever had. And so my friend's sister, says, like, you can never talk to him again, and you need to call the police right now. So I followed directions. I stopped texting him, and I called the police, and it happened in the city. So we went to my aunt's house who lived in the city, and the cops came. It took hours for the cops to come. The cops came to my aunt's house, and I didn't realize at the time, but the cop had body cam on, and he was recording everything. And so I'm telling him the story, and he says, I can see hand marks on your neck, and we're going to arrest him now. And he said, this is all on camera. And I just collapsed to the floor. I didn't know what that meant. Like, what do you mean you're arresting him? Like, it was so overwhelming to me. I didn't know how to process it. I felt like I still had that thing in me, like, I have to protect him. Mm-hmm. What everyone's going to know now.
Well, and because you're not used to somebody coming to your defense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was completely overwhelming. The cop explains that they're going to go arrest him and that I need to go down to night court. I need to get an emergency PFA. I had never even heard of a PFA before. It's for protection from abuse.
Yes.
So it's other states have restraining orders.
Yes.
I guess we have restraining orders too here in PA, but PFA is when someone you've been in a relationship with. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I go downtown. I have to tell my story in front of the judge, get this PFA. I mean, it was just an utter whirlwind. And they attempted a few times. They finally arrested him. It took a while. Every time they would try, they couldn't. He wasn't there. But that started my freedom. And looking back on it, that day, ironically, was maybe the best day of my life. Mm-hmm. It's the day I got away from him. And that was 4 years ago, almost to the day that I'm saying this.
Wow.
Yeah, what is the date today? It's
the 4th.
Yeah. It's about 5 days shy of, a complete 4 years. Yeah. Wow. And it was the craziest thing. I mean, I had to move back in with my parents. My life is completely upside down, but I can just remember, like, this happiness that came over me of, like, oh my God, I don't have to live this way anymore. Mm-hmm. It was
a new start.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything was pretty terrible, but also I felt so happy. Mm-hmm. I have bruises all over me. I'm in my childhood bedroom. I have no idea which direction my life is going in, and I just remember feeling so happy.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're okay and that you got away from him and that you're able to bravely share this story. Jena and I both have done an immense amount of talk therapy for some of the traumas that we've gone through, and we continue to do talk therapy, but we've also done retreats,
plant medicine.
Yes. And I think it's just it's a journey. Like, we keep going with it, because I don't want to say that are we ever truly healed, because I feel like we're always growing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that there's a finish line, but I mean, at this point of my journey, I mean, I feel pretty great about where I'm at, but there's always still going to be work to do.
Yeah. I mean, I always want to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think of it like the gym. You can't just stop going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you always have to keep at. And I think, healing is the same way. And, maybe some of the big things that I've healed and gotten over, I might not have these big monumental things that I still have to work on, but like there's always going to be little things.
Mm-hmm.
We've done so many different modalities. I mean, yeah. I recently started doing EFT tapping, which has been very cool. I've done acupuncture,
breath work,
yes. And then we were just talking about how like talking with friends, talking with each other through our traumas is so beneficial.
Yeah, circles. So people that have gone through similar traumas as you is definitely helpful. And not in a way that we're reliving it in like a victimhood.
No.
Because what I feel like is, we share the experience, but then also what we did to overcome it. I feel like the gym is a form of therapy.
Oh my God, 1,000%.
For both of us.
No, and it's, I haven't talked about most of these things out loud. I didn't even talk about breast cancer for 8 or 9 years. But I mean, and people don't know that the story is even so much worse. It's breast cancer plus domestic violence. But these are the things I'm thinking about when I'm working out. These are the things when I'm pushing myself and when I'm giving it 100%. This is what I'm thinking about, and this is what gets me through. This is how I heal.
Like when you're thinking like, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm going to give up like one more squat or one more push up. And you're like, no, shut up. Like you lived through cancer and abuse. You can do this. Yeah. That's what you're telling yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I just told someone the other day that she is in her first year of post cancer treatment. And she was saying that after you're done with treatment, it's almost harder because people don't think about it anymore. Oh, you beat it, But no, it's actually, that part's harder because you still think about it every single day. Right. And I was saying to her, it's almost like a superpower though, because I have experienced the lowest of the low. So it's something I draw from. And it's like, it's this like this thing I have now that I can use to get higher highs because I've experienced the lowest of the lows.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. So,
another thing I want to say is that I haven't wanted to say any of this out loud before and tell people about it because, again, I don't want people to think like, oh, I can't talk about these things with her, like that she's going to be sensitive about this, that she can't hear the certain things, it's going to trigger her. That's not the case. Like I want to talk about these things. Like I want to have these conversations. I realize that, talking about it creates the conversation and it can help other people, and it's healing me at the same time I can help other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every time you do, especially if someone is relating to you with if it happened to them. Absolutely. Or if they're going through it right now.
Absolutely.
If you or anyone you know is battling abuse, please do not hesitate to go to thehotline.org. Thank you guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.